Hello, I'm just going to do a brief video on thoughts on the 4090s. Alright, I'll go with the one I had first. Supreme X 4090 MSI. Looks wise, it wasn't much different from the 3090. They didn't take many risks, but if it's not broke, don't change it, I guess. It's probably, out of all the cards I had, it was probably slightly faster than the other ones, not by much. Temps wise, the chip itself, I'd say good. Mem temps, not the best. Fans, really quiet, really good. Felt the actual construction of it felt solid. The back plate, nice, but I kind of prefer the ones that are more perforated with more holes on that side of the card. It's on the back of this one, actually. I think it would have helped with the cooling, because Asus, Gigabyte have certainly left it more open on their cards. So yeah, it's a good one, but it had to go back because of the horrible cold wine. Next was the Asus TUF OC. Good fans, felt like a brick, really solid. It had two HDMIs. Didn't really get much chance to play around with that one. There wasn't a lot of, I can't remember even if there was any RGB on that one. It was maybe just like a name thing like that one probably has. I literally just put it in, got bad call wine, and that was it. Had to go back. After that I had the Zotac Extreme. Zotac, hats off to them. They actually decided to be different this year, and they put on, well, they did a different shroud and everything. It was a love or hated. I actually thought it was quite nice. It looked different. Zotac easily win the best lighting for a 4090. There was 5 different zones you could change, which is brilliant. The fans themselves, if you free spin them, they sounded pretty good, but as soon as they got any kind of power to them and the motors kicked in, the motors sounded horrible. Worse than call wine. It did have some call wine, but it was passable. It was acceptable for a card in a case. You just couldn't hear it. If you were going to have a more like, say, open top kind of thing, you probably would, but inside a case it was completely fine. So a really nice card, let down by either cheap fans or bad batch. I don't know what they were, but they weren't good, and there's lots of other people all around the world sent their cards back all because of them fans. After that we went with, I think I tried some more Supremes. They had call wine. Tried the Asus Strix, big card, well made, 2 HDMI 2.1s. Unusual lighting, there was nothing on that side. It was just all at the end and a little bit at the top, a bit weird, but it was good. It was alright. Great performance, amazing fans, really quiet. Even when gaming, it was a really quiet card. Build wise, it was really good. Horrible call wine, really bad call wine. In fact, DeBauer did a video where he had a 4090, no call wine. Then he got a 4080 version, and it had the same kind of call wine as what all my Asus and MSI cards have had. So, and he even said on his video that if he gets call wine as bad as that, he wouldn't keep the card. So neither did I. So yeah, the Asus Strix went back. This was kind of it was either this one or the Master for the Gigabyte. Really hard to get hold of the Gigabyte cards in the UK. Well, it was for me. Could get hold of everything else apart from Gigabyte. This is the Gigabyte Gaming OC. Really impressed with it. It seems like a premium card on the internals, but then they went cheap on the externals, which obviously it's cheaper, a lot cheaper than some of the high-end cards. So it's to be expected they have to save the money somewhere. So the lighting is what it is. It's okay, it's passable. You can mess about with it. I keep changing it all the time, trying to find one I like. It looks better in real life than it does with this phone. All the lighting in here looks better in real life than it does on the phone. The phone just doesn't do it justice. But yeah, it's really open at the back. So even if you're going to do it horizontal. It's got good through, like air being able to be pushed through it easy. The only thing I actually did on mine is because these don't light up unless they're actually spinning, is that I set a fan curve so it starts at 1000 RPM permanently, so there's no ramping up and down or anything. And I actually found it worked out better because I can't hear these fans at all while it's doing this. The only time you can actually hear any of this is when I'm, say, on Cyberpunk or something like that. But when these start to pick up, all the other case fans start to pick up. Now I set my case to work at between 38 and 40 decibels away from the case at max, and that's usually with Cyberpunk. So it's really quiet. My case and how I have it set up, it's really quiet. Even for gaming standards anyway. And the fans on this are really good. I would say they're equal to the MSI ones, not as good as the Asus ones, but I would say they're equal to the MSI ones for volume. This is for gaming. I wouldn't know. I've never really tested them to put them onto max. I've never needed to max out any kind of fans on GPUs before. So maybe when it gets past, say, the 80 or 90%, maybe you can start telling differences better. But from my experience, I would say Asus best, then the Gigabyte gaming, and the MSI second. But yeah, it's even though it's a cheaper card, it's fully unlockable. I mean, on the Asus, on the MSI Afterburner, it'll slide right along to, I think it's 133 on the power. I think the locked ones go to 1.5 or 110. Seen a lot of the reviews saying if you want to go down that path, you can go to the 500 watt, even push it up to 600 watt. Yeah, it's like I say, it's like a premium card in a cheaper exterior. And when it comes to the 5090s, if I go down that path, it might actually be a company I actually try out first rather than last, because there is a bit of core line, but it's the same levels as what the Zotac was. So out of my experience, the best brands for or lower chances of core line is Zotac and Gigabyte. The higher chances have been MSI and Asus, and when you do get it with them, it's louder with them as well. So it's a bit of potluck at the moment. So I tried all the PSUs, tried a couple of motherboards, but in an ideal world, I would have been able to try the PSUs and the motherboards at the same time and interswap them, because it might just be a correct kind of combination that you need, that maybe even helps. But you could literally be there all week, pulling stuff in and out, testing. I'm with how it is now, I'm happy with it and I can live with it. The search is over as such. But yeah, if you are thinking about one, if I had to pick one, if you can find a Zotac Extreme that's either not got the same kind of fans that originally came with it, or if Zotac's actually done something about it, that is the better card, because it looks good, it runs good. I think it just ticked a lot of the boxes. Probably not the box for overclocking, if you wanted to push it, but for every other box, yeah, it ticks that one. But it needs to have the fans that don't make that silly noise. After that, Gigabyte Gaming OC. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Zotac actually has done anything about those fans, because there's plenty of them. So if we go on Reddit, I can easily find posts, YouTube, different forums, and examples that all the fans sound the same. It's the motor. As soon as that motor gets any kind of juice, any kind of speed, the lowest speed, you can still hear them. But then again, there's people out there saying they've got Zotac Extreme and other cards and saying their fans are fine. So maybe it was just a big bad batch that went out, I'm not sure. So, well, hopefully that helps somebody who's in a search for a 4090, and happy hunting.